Westbrook, Harden, Curry, Klay, Kyrie, Harden again, Booker. But even with them, Kevin Durant has failed repeatedly like no other star has. Look at this possession. Instead of moving the ball around, Durant takes it from Curry
and go for a quick one. I don't think they're going to do it.
And takes a pull-up three to win the game.
Durant, three.
No Warriors action, just a pure hooper. The guy that's gonna tween hezzy pull-up, right? All the way to losing basketball. But okay, what about when he's got his own team?
Defenders who have skill. That's how you build up.
Oh, and the Suns, damn, they gave up 81.5 of an elimination game?
Embarrassing!
And now Durant is unhappy with the situation on the Suns. Despite forcing his way there just one season ago, saying he's unhappy with the Suns' underwhelming supporting cast and Bradley Beal's unavailability. Is this deja vu? Remember when Durant roasted his own starting lineup on the Nets, saying, "What do you expect with Sumner, O'Neal, Harris, and Claxton?" There's no doubt that Durant is literally one of the best players in the world and has been one for the past decade. However, when we start to look into Durant's track record, the issue has never been about his ability, it's about what he chose to do. And as you'll see in this video, something his own teammates have called him out for. He hasn't been able to win in 3 healthy playoffs. And it seems like for a low-key guy who only cares about hooping, there's way too many problems about stuff that's not hooping related.
You guys gonna kiss or fight?
I have never seen a player that talented repeatedly fail like this. So I'm going to go through the 3 key reasons why Durant continues to fail even as the favorite, and why he'll always be unhappy with whatever team he has unless he changes this one thing. And the crazy part is he could change it right now. What is up, dudes, that's Ballers Players? It's your boy MJ. Durant got swept by the Celtics while shooting 39% from the field and getting locked up, had on and several off games against the Nuggets last year. Why am I mentioning these 2 series? Because Durant was supposed to be a leader, and that's what he wanted, but that's also piece number 1. KD has failed to be a true leader. Durant has wanted people to acknowledge his greatness, a huge part of why KD left Golden State. Moving on to another team, the Nets, would give him the perfect opportunity to prove that he could lead his team as the definitive number 1 option. Because clearly, he had never proven what another guy at his position, Kawhi, proved the very same season by leading Toronto to a championship as the solo superstar on his team. And oh yeah, LeBron did pretty much in his entire career. This is all why Kawhi was labeled as the best player in the world in 2019. Kawhi being called the best in the NBA is exactly the kind of respect KD's wanted his entire career. In fact, even Steve Kerr said, "I think Kevin wants to be recognized as the best player in the world." And remember when KD said early in his career that he's tired of always being number 2? And since that moment, he's gotten pretty much everything he's wanted. His own franchise in the Nets that listened to anything he wanted, a trade right after he signed a 4-year extension to the team he wanted. But let's look at the Nets for just a second. Durant wanted to win his way, have his own culture, and fit in, unlike what he felt with the Warriors, and so he got to build his own team, got to have his best friend Kyrie, and have say in what players they would get, like DeAndre Jordan, and even getting Steve Nash as their coach. The Nets would also make the trade for James Harden, another one of KD's friends, and Durant was excited. But being that guy means that you have to lead through the ups and the downs. Kyrie's absence due to personal reasons, COVID, and injuries in the 2021 playoffs, the Nets had their downs. Durant's godly performance in the 2021 playoffs against the Bucks when he dropped a 49-point triple-double, then 48 points in Game 7.
Just a beautiful finish.
And a big toe away from winning.
He turns, he shoots. Yes!
Boy, ain't no way, boy.
That was the main up. Everyone in the NBA world was praising KD. Even though the Nets didn't win, Durant was being called the best player in the world by some, him or Giannis. And that hype led to Durant signing a 4-year extension with the Nets. Everyone talks when they up, right, Luka?
Everybody acting tough when they up.
KD was trying to prove these comments wrong.
If you ain't driving the bus, don't walk around talking about you a champion. If you riding the bus, I don't want to hear it.
But more drama, Harden would be unhappy with the direction Nets were going and having to play more minutes. KD was frustrated with Steve Nash, who literally said the only way the Nets could win was to have Durant play more, and Kyrie was still out because of the vaccine. They were still first in the conference, but started falling when KD got hurt. And Durant couldn't necessarily keep the team together. But honestly, I don't know if any player could. Harden demands a trade. The Nets get Ben Simmons, Seth Curry, Andre Drummond. Kyrie comes back, and the Nets are now built in a way that Durant and Kyrie originally wanted, and are in the playoffs. Healthy, decent role players, ready to take on whatever challenge comes next.
That's terrible.
Oh, so his team didn't work. KD's style of basketball wasn't winning basketball? No. It wasn't. Something the Warriors knew too and called out a few years ago, which we'll get into in piece number 3. Yet still, KD called out his critics last season saying, "I'm not a leader? What the does that mean?" A lot of people say I'm not a leader because I didn't tell Kyrie to get vaccinated, or I didn't condemn Kyrie for leaving the team, going out and living his life. I see your point, KD, but that's not why we're getting on you. Instead, KD's legacy in Brooklyn can be best described by Goran Dragic. Now let me make one thing crystal clear. Goran Dragic played all of 16 games in Brooklyn, but that was enough time for even Dragic to come out publicly questioning Kevin Durant and his lack of leadership in Brooklyn last season, and said KD was one of the guys on the team that cared only about stats. Dragic really had enough of the BS. So KD, we aren't questioning your leadership because of what you did tell or didn't tell Kyrie. We're questioning your leadership because in 2022, KD would request a trade from the Nets for the first time, and eventually revealed a few months later in an interview that he requested a trade because, quote, "it wasn't difficult at all to request a trade because it was all about ball. I went to them and was like, yo, I don't like how we're preparing, I don't like shoot-arounds, I like practice, I need more." Making these statements public after signing a 4-year extension is wild. Kyrie also wanted to stay on the Nets, but screw that, right? Especially after all the problems with missing time, promoting Amazon books. Look, KD knew what he was signing up for. His decision, and he still signed that extension in 2021, even after this IG Live.
In my past life, like I said, I was you. I was you. I was you. What you are now, that's what I'm up here.
Again, rather than deal with the consequences of all the decisions he made, he decided to try again. But every really great player has to prove that they can win a championship as the main guy. Kobe had to win without Shaq, LeBron had to be the main guy in Miami, not Wade, but Durant left Curry to prove he could, but hasn't. And that's piece number 2. Durant wanted to win and be the top dog. For KD, those two goals need to be fulfilled simultaneously. But which stars left championship situations to go off on their own and then failed? Maybe a young Tracy McGrady wanting to leave Vince Carter's shadow, but even then they weren't winning championships. Shaq left the Lakers, but then won in Miami. The closest I can think of is when Michael Jordan retired and the Bulls became Scotty's team. And the Bulls were actually still really good. Everyone was acknowledging just how good Pippen was without Jordan. He won All-Star Game MVP, getting the most out of the Bulls teammates, led the league in first-team All-NBA votes and first-team All-Defense votes. He got them to the second round in an exciting 7-game series loss to the Knicks. We all now know how Pippen felt about Jordan during those runs. Selfish, condescending. There was a bitter rivalry. But at the end of the day, Pippen just wanted to win. So when Jordan came back, he did whatever he could. But there was never a culture of star players leaving teams this often in their prime until LeBron came along. So enter Durant, a league MVP, a top 3 player for years, one of the greatest scorers ever, going to the 73-9 Warriors to win a championship with another MVP, Steph Curry. Durant won, but wasn't the undoubted top dog, especially when teams would literally leave Durant wide open while he had the ball to cover Curry. He went to the Nets to be the man, but still having Kyrie and Harden, another MVP, he was on a stacked team. Perhaps the most talented offensive big three in NBA history. He might not really get that respect that Giannis or Kawhi would for leading a team to a championship. Even his trade requests were to either the Suns or Heat, two teams who had recently made the finals and, more importantly, had established cultures. Durant was done with trying to make his own team, but with both the Nets and Suns and even the Warriors, we've seen the problem. Durant can be the man on the team, but only if he's not allowed to use his playstyle. And that's piece number 3. Durant needs to change what he thinks is winning basketball. On the Warriors, Durant will get into these habits of getting the ball and isoing, holding the ball for a while with absolutely no movement, not running any Warriors action, which is crazy if you know just how much they move without the ball. Steve Kerr would call Durant out on it, and they didn't always see eye to eye. Heck, during Game 5 against the Rockets in 2018, Steve Kerr literally tried to get the message through.
When MJ was with the Bulls, we had a playoff game, and he kept trying to score, and he was scoring, but we weren't getting anything going. Phil Jackson said, "Who's open?" He said, "John Paxson." I want you to trust your teammates early. What you're doing is you're getting to the rim, and then you're trying to hit them. I want you to trust the first guy. And then move.
KD's style works as a closer, works when the team is struggling and needs a bucket, but it can't be the backbone of a great team. Look at Kobe, who had to learn to trust his teammates, get them involved, and pick and choose his moment to take over. But if he never got those teammates involved,
Artest, that's a 3. Bang!
then they don't give more effort defensively, they stagnate and are out of rhythm when you need them to hit big shots when you're getting doubled. We could look at the recent Nuggets series where his team was favored to win the NBA title last year with plus 400 odds and had teammate in Devin Booker putting together a couple of games against Denver, shooting nearly 80% from the floor and scoring in the high 40s. But let's go back even further to his OKC days when they were up 3-1 against the 2016 Warriors. KD and the Thunder had 3 chances to close out the Warriors, and if you look at KD's scoring in those closeout games, he averaged 32 points and 7 boards. But at what cost? In Game 5, he shot 12 of 31 from the field. In Game 6, he shot 10 of 31. Durant played 45 minutes both nights because the game plan was for KD and Westbrook to carry, to create all the opportunities, counting on making difficult shots throughout the entire game. And come fourth quarter, both would be gassed, taking and missing several bad shots. Sure, for KD, these might not be the worst shots in the NBA, but relying on that is what was their demise. That, and choking several turnovers. Fast forward to 2022, and the Celtics' physical defense was enough to throw KD off rhythm. Without KD being able to make or even take those difficult shots, they got swept. Now with the Suns, we saw it against the Nuggets. Durant was just bricking. Forget the embarrassing Game 6. Throughout the series, Durant averaged 29.5 points and had great games, but also at times would be completely off, like in Game 2. In the last 17 minutes, he went 4 of 12, no threes, no free throws,
Fades.
1 assist and 1 rebound, leading to a loss?
Durant.
Is the standard we're holding him to really high? Heck yeah, because he wants to be considered the best player in the world. He was great some games and good others. Now Durant is unhappy with the supporting cast, right? But that has been a theme everywhere he's been that wasn't the Warriors. He feels a need to do it himself.
Oh, the stunner stepping.
And also gets upset at his teammates for not being as good as he wants. Part of that comes with being traded to an organization since they need to trade their entire asset trove to get you, which leads to hero ball and offense that relies on KD to create and make several tough shots as the bare minimum to stay in games, and no layers of offense to turn to, so you get horrible shooting nights, and the cycle repeats. And again, you signed on for playing with Chris Paul knowing he has injury history. You also gave the okay to the Bradley Beal trade, and if you knew anything about Beal, you know he's missed several games. And the funny thing is, KD knows that relying on just him or 2 stars isn't enough to win games. He regularly complained about that in OKC. The 2 reasons he wanted to trade was 1, Westbrook had the ball more than him, and 2, he felt like they didn't have a good offense with ball movement. KD is so great, he's been great for a decade. But I'm tired of the cycle that always shakes up the entire NBA. KD needs to change his own playing habits and figure out how to get his team more involved, and forget about leaving so he can stay committed, which in turn makes his teammates feel more involved. Otherwise, he's gonna be a star who kept failing. At least he's trying, I guess. The all-day notification shout goes to your boy Spooderman. That's jokes. Thanks for the all-day support. And if you want to know why KD's rival LeBron moving to point guard is a movie, there's a video right here. And if you're still here, you a real one, so comment change so I know. It's your boy MJ. We out. We vibing. Happy New Year.